after Saturday, where I know we weren't pleased with the defense overall, what do you think is the effort and execution around that end?
On the defensive end, I would say, I have to watch the tape, but I'd say 75% of our possessions were very good. We're still searching for a 40-minute effort, and I don't mean effort from the standpoint of trying. I just mean from the standpoint of, competitiveness, execution, details. But, that's probably where a lot of teams are early in the year. I thought our guys did a much better job on defense.
There was about a 6-minute stretch in the first half where it looked like you had what you wanted, in terms of what you were discussing, that complete effort. Was that maybe the best stretch you guys have had this year?
Yeah, and then, the guys were playing, as we say, aggressive, confident, and loose. It helps when, Andrew's knocking down shots and guys were – but I thought there was a good flow. The way UAB plays, it's going to be a lower possession game, but I thought – the guys, dug in and were aggressive, got their hands on the basketball. And then on the offensive end, when the play broke down, we didn't just stop. We got to what we call creative action, which is throwing the ball to our big and then kind of cutting off of that. And I thought our guys did a nice job.
Their biggest strength might be offensive rebounding. They didn't kill you with that today. Were you satisfied with it?
Again, most of the time, I'd say 4 out of 5 possessions. We did a nice job. They got 11, which is too many, but they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country, so they're probably going to get some. I think the biggest area for growth for us is guys understanding, particularly coming out of halftime, but all the time, that having an obsession with what goes into winning has to supersede how the game is going for you, and that means going against human nature a little bit, but that's what the best teams do.
Shaka, I'm sure he probably made mistakes at some point, but Kai's defensive hustle he popped off the screen. Obviously.
Well, he's a great athlete, and he's a guy that is interesting. He wasn't playing early on, and he's like, well, what do I got to do to play more? And I said, you got to play harder in practice. You got to get at it more. And he's really, really taken to that. I'd say starting with the week, leading into our New York trip, he's been more assertive, just more ready, and his future's really bright. And you saw, his athleticism on display with the lob that Courtney threw him.
When you're having troubles offensively, Jericho really came up with some big plays, scoring in the post, getting a pass out, Jason at 3. How much does that help settle down the offense, and is that something that y'all want to do more as his confidence grows?
It definitely is. I mean, he's doing a nice job playing, the way that we're asking him to play. But any big guy, the more you can get him the ball, the more engaged they're going to be. So that's something that we need to do more and more, particularly if he's, right now he's shooting 70-some% from the field. And he made a really good play against a double team, to get Jace a 3-point shot. So that's definitely something that we need to look to do more, because he's a guy that can score down there.
With Jericho, it seems like he's a little bit more confident with the ball in his hands now, especially making plays. He got one from the top of the key, a nice assist to Jace. Have you seen that sort of comfort level with him when you're asking him not to just get buckets for himself and set up?
Yeah, I mean, he's done a phenomenal job doing what we've asked. Now the next step is allowing his inner beast to come out, and he has it in there, and he really, really wants to be good, and he wants his team to do well. But, obviously he comes across very subdued sometimes. So he has it in there. He's doing better playing harder for longer stretches, which is the number one point of emphasis that we've had to him this year.
You said Donovan and Kai have the biggest upside.
Yes.
On the roster. Kai is learning the game, but the sheer effort seemed to move the needle tonight.
For sure. Yes. Just it's amazing, Cedric, what trying hard can do, especially when you have athletic dimensions the way that he does. We talk about having a standard of competitive effort. He played with that for 19 minutes tonight, and that's why he really helped our team. I thought when he was in, we were better defensively than when he was out, and he's a freshman. Donovan has to learn that everything we do starts in practice, and he has to understand that right now as a freshman, there's a bunch of things that he needs to be taught and he needs to be receptive to. And that's a common lesson that freshmen need, but he also has a ton of upside, and when he goes in there and plays extremely hard and he's prepared the right way, he can really help our team as well.
Coach, Jace hadn't shot the ball particularly well the last couple of games. He
No.
seemed a little bit hesitant tonight.
Yeah.
What do you feel like his confidence is at?
Well, I think he's like pretty much all shooters. Those guys can be a little neurotic. They evaluate themselves on the ball going in the basket singularly, even though there's a ton of other aspects of basketball. We've tried to really emphasize to him to get himself going through defense and rebounding. But he definitely, I think, showed some frustration a little bit tonight. The formula for him to be successful is not going to change, and we have a ton of confidence in him. Just like we had a ton of confidence in Andrew Jones. He struggled from outside a couple games, coming into tonight. He passed up an early three, and I'm like, shoot, man. And then he shot, and he got going, and obviously led us in scoring.
It looked like when Fedris made that three, you got pretty animated. Was that to encourage him, or what was going on there?
Well, I appreciate him making the three, but I got animated because we gave up an easy basket on the possession before. And, there has to be, on that type of play, more of a passion to take that away. Most teams are not just going to go away because you got a 10-point lead or 15-point lead. They're going to keep trying to come at you, and that's why I was excited at that point.
Shaka, do you think this group has done a much better job of focusing on the game? And when in the past, mid-majors have maybe tripped y'all up a little bit. But y'all are 7-1, y'all are getting these wins.
Well, I think our guys are making winning plays at critical times. I thought Courtney, after not playing particularly well earlier in the McNeese game, gave us a huge lift down the stretch of that game. I thought him and Matt did a pretty good job controlling the game tonight and setting a tone for our team. But we just got to continue to get better. And there's, it's December 3rd. 4 weeks ago, we opened up against Northern Colorado. We've won 7 out of 8 games, but we've not yet played a complete 40-minute game. There's probably a lot of teams out there that could say that. We have a day off tomorrow for the guys, but then we need to come to practice with an urgency to understand how we can be better next time out. Obviously, playing A&M will be a heck of a matchup.
At one point, Jace was right in front of you and got the ball in transition in his spot.
Yeah.
And hesitated into the dribble and missed it like a mid-range. You took him out and you went like this. Is he thinking too much, or
Yes.
Is that all just that you see the ball?
Shoot the ball, man. I mean, one thing, like, they can say whatever they want about me. You guys can write whatever you want about me. But as it relates to shooters, I am a player's coach. Guys like that have shown they can make shots and put time in and work and make shots in practice. I have a simple philosophy. You've seen it. You've got on me about it before. Why do they keep shooting? Because they're good shooters and they're wide open. I believe that, like Andrew showed tonight, eventually that comes around when you're that good of a shooter, and he's that good of a shooter. But yeah, overthinking. There's a little bit of a confidence, thing when you've maybe only made 2 out of your last 10 or whatever it might be. But the reality is, he's made about 100,000 of them in his life. So he should feel like the next one's going in, because I do.
And Gerald, only 8 threes so far this year. It looks like teams are kind of laying off of him, trying to take that drive away. Does that hurt the spacing, and does he maybe need to pull a few more of those to try to earn a little bit more respect from him?
Yeah, it's a fine line. I mean, it does affect spacing for sure, because teams help a lot off of him. There's a couple things that we can do that we've started to work on doing a little bit differently when teams are helping off of him. But absolutely, I mean, our best spacing is if we have 4 great shooters in a game, and then a guy sprinting to the rim. But I think Gerald needs to, and he did this at the end of the game tonight. He needs to understand he is a tough, physical, aggressive defender when he sets his mind to it. He's a guy that can rebound. He can push the ball. He got out in transition and got a layup. That's who he needs to be. He's never going to be a guy that shoots a ton of threes. What we have told him is if you're wide open and the ball finds you, step in and shoot it. He's spent a lot of time working on it, but he's gaining confidence as well.
Is some of that just cutting off the ball more too?
Yeah, cutting, and that's something really just the last few days that we've spent some time on, and something you'll see him do more.
One last one. Is Matt at the point now where he can consistently make an impact even when his offense isn't at the level where he wants it to be? Because it seems like on the ball defensively he was great tonight.
Yeah, Matt led tonight. He really led, and he led in this game well before the game started. In practice, in between practices, and he was not fresh as a daisy tonight. I could tell Matt's been working his butt off, and he continued to fight and battle. I'd like to be able to sub him more, but he played 35 minutes and we needed him in there. So we ask a lot of him. By far more of him than anyone. And I thought he really, really led. I thought the threes he got were good looks, and he's obviously been shooting the ball well this season. So we want him to continue to be aggressive.